So nearly 2 years ago in April 2021, I decided to change my life, and alternate day fasting was the way I did it. I lost over 60 pounds in 8 months, and I have been spreading my story ever since on YouTube. Before I get into the what you need to know about alternate day fasting guide, I just want to let you know I am not a licensed medical professional. I'm just a girl that likes to do research and scientific stuff and my observations. I'm no scientist, but please consult your physician before you do anything, especially refraining from eating food for a long period of time. Also, if you have any kind of disordered eating tendencies, thought patterns, please refrain from this kind of eating pattern. It might be triggering. It can lead you to have obsessive thoughts. So I want you to be healthy. I want you to treat your body right. I want you to know that fasting is not starvation. They are two separate things. Although they both do the same thing, which is refrain from food, the mindset for both are completely different. Starvation is almost a thought pattern of punishment towards the body, whereas fasting is giving the body the rest it needs to do what it's supposed to do naturally, which is repair, reset, revive your organs. It's not supposed to be extracting, excreting, and it's not supposed to be doing all kind of digestive processing for long periods of time. The body is meant to have a break from food. And please stick around for the last tip, because that tip is essential. It is the most underutilized tip. It's the difference between success and failure. So with that out of the way, let's start. So what is alternate day fasting? Alternate day fasting is ultimately a intermittent fasting protocol. It's roughly a 36-hour period of non-eating and then eating. I like to call it sun up to sun up. Not sun up to sundown, which is essentially OMAD, but sun up to sun up, where the sun rises and you start your fast, and the sun rises the next day and you end your fast. Okay, sun up to sun up. I don't calculate time because it's not needed. For me, and my advice to you is to keep it as simple as possible. I did not log, I did not count hours, I didn't count calories or anything. I didn't. And this is what I loved about alternate day fasting, is that you just don't eat. You don't have to question anything. You don't have to wonder if this is part of the protocol. You don't need to refer to anything. The simpler, the better. If you've come across my videos and are interested in alternate day fasting, you need to be desperate. You have to have the mentality that you are sick of yourself. You need to be against the wall. You need to feel like this is your last hope, okay? Before you need to go like surgery-wise or Ozempic. No shade, no shade. Fasting is possible for most anyone because we are designed to fast, but you need to have a desperate mindset. When I started fasting, I was in a really bad place in my life, personally and physically. I was 252 at my heaviest. I felt unsexy, I felt unattractive, I felt unwomanly. I didn't like who I saw in the mirror because that wasn't the Colleen I knew. I was depressed. I felt like I had no control over who I was, what I was doing, where I was in life. I just felt out of control, and I said, okay, enough is enough. I was going through health issues. I was experiencing knee and ankle inflammation, heart palpitations. I was just going through it. I don't know how. I remember coming across Rachel Sharp, seeing her videos as a woman doing alternate day fasting. I was already familiar with intermittent fasting. I did 16-8 previously, and I'd lost 40 pounds, and I tried OMAD for about a month and lost about 10 pounds there. After the birth of my second son, I was ready to lose weight again. I'm a black and white person. I'm all or nothing. And if you give me the room, I will usually mess it up. If you take away my option to eat, there's nothing to think about. I don't have to count calories. I don't have to document anything. I don't have to worry if this is in my macros. I just refrain from eating, and it was super simple. It was too simple. Although it's super simple, of course, it's not easy. We're used to eating all day, every day, morning to night. But I was desperate enough. I wanted to get away from this old body so much. I wanted to go back to old Colleen so much that this temporary discomfort was worth the long-term happiness I was going to experience. So when you start, If you are watching this, I need you to be desperate, because if you're not desperate, you are not going to feel like refraining from food is worth it. If you have a chronic illness, if you can't run or play with your kids or your grandchildren or your nieces and nephews, if you can't fit on an airplane seat, if you have issues fitting into any of your clothes, this is the kind of desperateness I need you to be experiencing to finally jump on board with something like this. Because for me, it is super simple, but it wasn't easy, but I needed it. You need it to save your life. It's that serious. Your health is that serious. So if you're starting alternate day fasting, you need to be desperate. On top of that, number 2, you need to have a why, and your why needs to be strong. Your why is going to carry you through this process. My why is that I'm vain, and this is self-awareness. This is self-awareness at hand. I'm vain enough to know that I don't like how I looked back then. No, I don't like looking like an apple. I don't like looking like a wrestler. No, I want to look feminine. I want to look womanly. I want to look curvy. I want to wear cuteness. All right? And it's really hard to be your ultimate feminine self when you are overweight. It is. The heavier I was, the more I felt I needed to do. I wanted to wear eyelashes, and my nails needed to be extra long, and my hair needed to always be on point, because if you're looking at my hair and my cute nails and my nice lashes, then you won't have time to pay attention to my body. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to be proud of my body and be as natural and free and liberated as possible. That was my why. And my why carried me through, because each time I got results, every week when I was losing and shedding weight and able to fit into a new pant size, that also motivated me towards the bigger picture, which is being cute. And of course, I lost my inflammation in my knees. Of course, my heart palpitations went away, and my cholesterol lowered over 60 points. Awesome. Although those were health things that mattered, that wasn't my driving force, okay? So of course, you need to be real with yourself. You have to be real with yourself. If your why is not health related and it is vanity based, you need to say so to yourself. If your why is, I really want to live longer, let that drive you. If your why is that I want to stunt on my ex and let him know what he's missing, that needs to be your why. Whatever the why is, no matter how deep or shallow, because who's to say what's shallow, all right? As long as it's motivating you, let it go. But it needs to be the driving force for your journey, because every time you recall it, you need to remember why you're even doing this. It's so easy to start, and it's even easier to fall off. Know your why. Let your why propel you. Number 3, move in silence. If you're gonna do this journey, unless you have somebody, a partner, a friend, a confidant that you trust, don't tell anybody what you're doing. Don't tell anybody what you're doing, because everybody, every Tom, Dick, and Harry, every Susan, Karen, and Carol will have something to say about this, and it's usually not gonna be positive. Why do you have to go so extreme? You don't need to do that, do this. Oh, I lost weight doing keto. Keep it to yourself, move in silence, and let the results speak for itself. Don't, especially if you're just starting, don't tell anybody. For one, people don't like it when you're changing. They don't, because they feel like they're being left behind. For 2, people are going to judge what you're doing. They're gonna think you're starving yourself. They're gonna think what you're doing is unhealthy. They're gonna try to feed you, okay? And that's called sabotage. People inadvertently sabotage you, also purposely sabotage you. It's so beautiful when you do have someone that you can trust, that can move with you, that is your partner in life, your confidant. You have your sister you can go to. I have my sister. I'm just like super grateful that I can go to her with anything. But if you don't have that, or you feel like that person isn't really going to understand what you're doing, just keep it to yourself. Number 4, I want you to know that you will be uncomfortable. Although you are uncomfortable, especially when you're starting, you are not hungry. You are not hungry, especially if you're overweight. If you are uncomfortable, that's normal. Okay, those are your blood sugars regulating. Those are the insulin spikes coming back down. Those are the mental pangs of hunger. They're mental. You're not hungry. You know why? Because you're fat. If you're fat, you're not hungry. because the body is designed to use its glucose stores, which we get from everyday eating. Our primary fuel source is glucose. Once we start using up the glucose stores, the glycogen that we're running off, we start tapping into the fat stores. That's how the body operates. Secondary source is going to be fat. This is where we tap into ketosis, the operation of using fat for fuel. And that's where the leaning and the magic happens. Once you really power through those stores, then you could be like, okay, maybe I won't fast today because I think I'm feeling real hunger. Most people don't even know what true hunger feels like. Most people do not know what hunger even feels like. And you'd be surprised how long you could go without feeling hunger. You'd have to like force yourself to eat, actually, because you didn't know that you could last so long. 36 hours is about the average time span for the fasting. On alternate day fasting, I don't condone going past like 48 hours and stuff. That's me personally. I don't think it's necessary for weight loss, but if it's for health purposes, go ahead. But I have nothing to do with that. Okay, just weight loss. But feel free to research more on long-term fasting. You will be uncomfortable though. You're going to have to expect discomfort and ride with it. These hunger cravings come in waves. That's your ghrelin kicking in, that hunger hormone kicking in. It doesn't last long. If you could get through 15 minutes of this hunger, you'll be fine and you'll be able to make it through the rest of your fast. And guess what? It'll get easier. Number 5, stimulants will be a help. Stimulants include caffeine. Stimulants stimulate dopamine. Dopamine creates the feel-good hormone. The more dopamine you produce, the less hunger you'll feel, because it signals to the body that you're full. It essentially gives the I'm full feeling. I'm satisfied, not even full, I'm satisfied. So if you need a little help, go ahead and have coffee, unflavored tea. I say unflavored, but if you'd like to have flavored, and when I say flavored, that doesn't mean sweetened, but flavored items, if you want to. I don't suggest it. Once again, keeping it simple is the best way to go. During my first month, I used to use those little 4C lemonade packets and they got me through and I still lost 60 pounds. The less you do as far as flavors and foods and sweetened, the more you'll do for your health. So if you're doing this for health purposes, the simpler the better. If you're doing it for weight loss purposes, go ahead and have your little flavors and your dabs of cream and here or there. And if you are gonna have cream in your coffee, I'd highly suggest heavy whipping cream. If anything, it has like 1, and it's just to break up the blackness, all right? Just to break up the blackness. I'm not saying have a Swiss coffee. I'm not saying to have like a Milky Way, just to break up the blackness, all right? Because it has little to no carbohydrates in it, and that will keep you in ketosis, all right? 6, in your first month, you don't have to exercise. You don't have to exercise. You don't. Do I encourage exercise? I will always encourage exercise. Exercise helps stimulate what? Dopamine. Dopamine helps you what? Feel good and feel satisfied. But you don't have to. And when I say exercise, I mean like, go through some strength training program or, 5-day-a-week boot camp. No, you don't have to. I always recommend walking. Your body, the human body is designed to move. Don't play yourself by being a statue, a couch potato. Let the body do what it's designed to do. There's no better. I've never seen anyone exercise and regret it. I wish I didn't do that walk. Huh? Say what? I always encourage it, but is it necessary? No, especially in your first month. Now, where you could really start getting serious about exercise is if you're feeling like you're plateauing or you're not seeing the results or you're ready to start shaping the body. This is my little saying. Diet helps you look good in clothes. Exercise helps you look good naked. I always am a huge proponent for any kind of resistance training. Bands, that means dumbbells, but exercise in your first month isn't required. What I do require you to do is focus on fasting. Number 7 is really key, and you need to understand that you have to stick to the pattern. If you're alternate day fasting, you need to alternate day fast. That means eat every other day. And what this does is your body Your body's super smart. Your body, the human body is so smart. The body starts to prepare essentially for this oncoming short-term fast. But it can only do so if you stay to the pattern, at least a week, at least. The body will stop sending those hunger cues and start expecting food at a certain time. Stop expecting food at a certain time, but only if this pattern is consistent. I did my alternate day fast religiously. That meant if it fell on a Sunday, I was Sunday fast. If it fell on a period, I was period fasting. I just stuck with it. For me, it didn't bother me. If it bothers you, I'm sorry. I'm pretty certain you could push through it. The weekends are a social cue. Menstrual, not sure how that works for you. I don't have horrible menstrual cycles, so it didn't affect me. I powered through it. I found other things to do, and I found that my cycle was really regulated. So if you have PCOS or any hormonal issues, I highly suggest fasting. But once again, I'm not a medical professional. Look into fasting for PCOS and hormonal imbalances. If you have fertility issues, like fasting is such a hormone regulator. All your hormones get regulated because the body has time to do things such as regulate hormones instead of extracting and digesting all damn day. All right, stick to the pattern as best as possible. At least two weeks, please. Just give yourself a chance to just dedicate yourself. If you want to do a challenge, do a 14-day challenge. Not only will you see great results on the scale, your body will actually start craving fast days. I used to crave fast days. Like I would eat and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm ready for my fast days. Like it happens. You will start to look forward to them. It's such a freeing and liberating feeling to not focus on food. Release yourself from the bondage of food. Release yourself from the thoughts. What's for dinner? What's for lunch? Can I have a snack? This is high carb. This is low. End it. Give yourself a break and fast. Stick to the pattern. On your feast days, your feast day is actually more important than your fast days. Your fast days, all you have to do is not eat. On your feast days, we call that, I have a Facebook group, by the way, link down below. We call it refuel days. We refuel on these days. The feast days are the refuel days. You know what refuel means? That means high octane, premium quality fuel for this Benz, for this Bentley, for this Rolls Royce body you have. Your body is a high luxury vehicle. Your body is a high quality vehicle. Fuel it with premium gas. Every meal that you have on your feast day needs to be nutrient dense. Nutrient dense. Stop worrying about the calories. Stop. Here's the thing. People are always like, it's the calories, the calorie. Yes, we know calories in versus calorie out. But when it comes to fasting, it's really hard to go over your calories, right? When you're fasting, you need nutrient dense foods because essentially you're eating for two. You're eating for the day of the feast and you're eating to get you through the following fast day. Don't play yourself by having junk food, empty calories, and having all these calories and there's no nutrients in it. You understand? That's why I said F calories, because 2,000 calories of junk food is not equivalent to 2,000 calories of whole, unprocessed, highly nutrient dense food. There's no equivalent. And that's why when people try to come in here with the calorie stories, goodbye. It is calories matter to a very small degree. You know what matters? Your hormones. When you have nutrient dense foods, your body reacts differently hormonally. The amino acids from the proteins are repairing. Those slow digesting carbs and fibers are helping clear out the colon. Those monosaturated fats from avocados and walnuts are helping to plump the skin and regenerate brain cells. Twinkies and the number 4 on the McDonald's menu is not doing that. fuel yourself. It's not just a feast, it's a refuel day. Take it seriously because it needs to power you through. And guess what? If you play yourself on these feast days, you will experience fatigue. You will experience lightheadedness. You will experience sagging of the skin. You will experience excessive hair shedding, brittle nails. Protein and fat with every meal. Okay, if you're having an apple, have some peanut butter with it. Make yourself a macronutrient dense meal every single time you eat. Every single time. For those worried about how many calories should I eat, number 9, if you are looking for a calorie guideline, right? Here's one I created. It's not scientific, it's just something that made sense to me for 2 days worth of eating, all right? Find a calorie calculator. Input your stats. Whatever the maintenance calorie is your minimum. Whatever the weight gain calories are, is your maximum. Eat between those. All right? If you're looking for a calorie guideline to stick to, eat between your maintenance and your gain. This will be sufficient enough to carry you for 2 days. Okay, because what it kind of breaks down to was, here's my thought. Say I'm having a 2,800 calorie feast day. You feel good, you're satisfied, like I get to play with 2,800 calories. In my head, how I view it is, okay, if I break this in half, right down the middle, I'm having around 1,400 calories per day. So I'm having 1,400 calories here, 1,400 calories on the following day. That's pretty low. That's pretty low. So think about it. You want to make sure you're having a sufficient amount of calories, not excessive and not under. Do not, I repeat, do not, I'm not playing with you. Don't undereat. Okay, I would rather you overeat than undereat. When I was doing it, my first month, I had MyFitnessPal to keep track of my calories because that's one thing I didn't want to do was undereat. I know how it feels to undereat. I know how it feels to have little to no gas in the tank. Don't do that to yourself. This is just my calculation. You do what works for you. But if you're looking for a calorie range, your minimum can be your maintenance. Your maximum can be your weight gain. Okay? Eat between those ranges. And you should have more than enough to experience results and feel good, all right? The last tip is you need to emotionally regulate. 9 times out of 10, overweight people are emotional eaters, emotional binge eaters. They tie food to emotion. Why? Because they don't know how to emotionally regulate. That means deal with their own emotions without stuffing their feelings. They stress eat, they boredom eat, they happy eat, they socially eat, angrily eat, they secretively eat. A holiday, they eat because their mom says so. They eat because they eat. And usually it's never because they're hungry. It's just because these emotions make them want to eat. I understand. I'm a stress eater. I've noticed that I am a stress eater. When my stress goes up, I want to head for the nearest vending machine. But here's the thing. Here's the thing, people. You have to be aware. Self-awareness is so key, and you're gonna gain a lot of it. You're gonna gain a lot of it while alternate day fasting. You're gonna learn so much about yourself. You're gonna learn so much about your habits. You're gonna learn so much about what triggers you, what your cues are, what sparks this hunger cue. You have to look out for it. You can't just think, I'm hungry. Because once again, if you're fat, you're not hungry, all right? If you are fat, you're not hungry. And please don't take offense to the word fat. Fat is an adjective. It doesn't describe who you are. It's not a negative. It is literally a word. Skinny is a word too. It doesn't make it good or bad. Fat is a word. It doesn't make it good or bad. It's just an adjective, all right? So please don't feel any kind of way. Take your emotions out of it and let's start using logic. Remove emotions from food. Remove emotions from weight loss. So let's start approaching this stuff logically. You can only do so though if you emotionally regulate. What does this include? If you are able to access a professional counselor for therapy, do so. It's 2023. There are more than enough resources. If you're able to access that resource, by all means do. It's not fair to yourself, it's not fair to your loved one, it's not fair to your future for you to be going through anything alone. You don't have to. There are resources free if you are low income, if you have any kind of access to a job. They have these things where you're at least able to access like 6 free sessions or low cost. Get to a counselor, get to a therapist if you can. Start working through why you are the way you are, what made you do this, how did you even get fat in the first place? Why do you associate this feeling with food? Why are you not able to express yourself? Why do you stuff your feelings? Journaling is another one. Journaling is my preferred source of emotional regulation. I write. I will write down whatever. If you have a safe space where you're able to document your thoughts, feelings, journaling it's extremely effective. It's free 99. All you need is a book, and you get to releasing. I don't have any prompts for you. You don't need any prompts. Just express. If you do it in the morning, you could start by saying, I'm so grateful for a new day. Everything you're expecting, everything you're worried about, write about your anxiousness, write about who's provoking you. If you want to, just anything that comes to your brain, write until you have nothing left to give. Me, I write at a 3-page minimum. If I have more, that's it. But I always write at a 3-page minimum just to make sure that I'm expressing as much as I need to. What journaling does is energy transference. You're moving your feelings from in here onto paper. And when you remove this, you are free. You deserve to be free. You don't need to be walking around heavy, burdened by emotions that you can express either to a trusted confidant, to a licensed professional. You do not have to. Nobody is giving you a cookie, a credit, or a trophy for walking around as the most burdened person in the world. There's no trophy for this. Release it. Let it go. We're removing victim mentalities. We are nobody's victim. No one's coming to save you. No one is coming to save you. Remember that this is deeper than weight loss. This is deeper than vanity. It's really a self-discovery journey. And once you start viewing this as a way to enlightenment, all right, guru status, you will reap so much out of this journey, because it's not just some overnight diet. It's not a diet. This is a lifestyle. We reap so much out of this kind of lifestyle, and not just physically and health-wise, but mentally. It's life-changing. It has changed my life for the better, and I'm so grateful that I took this chance. The funniest thing is, like, I still can't believe to this day it worked, because I've tried everything. And my mom says nothing is done before the time. If you're looking for more support, join the Alternate Day Fasting Facebook group. It's free 99. I have a weekly live on YouTube every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go ahead and join over there. I'm rooting for you. Wishing you the best. Don't forget to like on your way out. Bye.